35 races. It all comes down to this. Championship 4 in Phoenix this Sunday. My name is Dan. This is my son, Nick. I'm at home. He's away at school. And this is how we've been enjoying the 2022 NASCAR Cup season together. So what do you think, Nick? What's going to happen?
I don't know. I'm very excited. Excited about Christopher Bell winning his way in, but now it's all bets are off. Who's going to go for it and take it?
You could argue that Elliott is the favorite because he's the most recent championship winner that's in this 4. You could argue that Logano is the favorite because he won a race in these past 3, and he's been running well coming into this. You could argue that Christopher Bell has the momentum, that he has proven twice that he can win when he has no other option. Or you can say that it's going to be Ross Chastain, new NASCAR legend. Let's go back to the Martinsville weekend, because there's 2 big stories that everybody's been talking about this week that you and I should weigh in on. But first, let's take a look at our picks from last week. Nick, your pick to win the race was William Byron. He finished 7th. Didn't have a good starting position, but he was able to work his way up. Wasn't enough for him to advance to the championship 4 in the end. My pick to win was Martin Truex Jr., and I regretted making that pick as soon as I saw his car in practice and qualifying. He was not fast, and he was not good.
Oh.
Our consensus third driver was Chase Elliott. He was either leading or running second for just about the whole race, and then in the madness, he ended up 10th at the end. Of course, that was enough for him to advance. Nick, your top non-playoff driver from the Martinsville race was AJ Allmendinger. He never really quite got it going in this race. He ended up 23rd. My next top non-playoff driver was Eric Almirola. He did run up in the top 5, top 10 for a good bit of the race, but he ended up 15th. So the end of this race, walk me through your experience with that, Nick, from where you were.
Well, I mean, I had been nervous the whole time watching Hamlin and Chastain's points go from +2, -2 to 0, which would have been a Chastain win, and then back down. And on the last lap, Chastain was down. I was sad. I was like, there's no way. This is like, I can't believe Hamlin is in the playoffs again. And then I guess it was Dale's voice, or someone's voice was yelling that he made it in, and it cuts to like his crew chief dancing and all that. I didn't even realize like what had happened because he went so fast and he zoomed up through. But
right, I think the live shot, I don't think it really showed it when it was happening live. But you heard the reaction of the commentators, and then you saw his pit crew. But then, of course, we see the replay, and everybody's jaw is just on the floor pretty much.
He was in that spot where you might as well try something, because if you don't, you're out of the playoffs. You might as well. And he said that he'd thought of that move before, but never knew if it was going to work. That was his one chance. Might as well see if it works, and it paid off.
It was an amazing move. I think this is a situation where he actually broke NASCAR for a little bit, because that move is not supposed to be able to work. But he made it work. My theory is that this move of riding the wall and using those G-forces to whip you around so you don't have to slow down, my theory is that that's only going to work at Martinsville, because where else do you have such a tight turn 3 and 4 where you can get on that wall at a high rate of speed and it's going to whip you around? If you tried that on a larger track, which we have seen where Kyle Larson has tried this at a larger track. I think it was maybe Darlington or something like that. And it didn't work. And it's probably because the turn wasn't tight enough. That's my theory anyway.
No, I agree with that. And also, we would view this differently if he'd flown up there and wrecked dudes or like rammed into the side of cars. but this move was solely just him, and he didn't cause any other casualties or wreck someone out of their standings. He just zoomed past them. So that's what makes, at least in my eyes, like it's a legal move for what he did. And yeah, I don't think it would work at Talladega or these other spots.
And I can only imagine what the people that were there thought about it, like if they believed what they were seeing. And I must say, I almost started to feel bad for Denny Hamlin. But in fact, I did shed no tears for Denny Hamlin.
Because yeah, he's way up there. He thinks he's solid, and then out of nowhere, this new school driver with this crazy move beats him out. Which yeah, I shed no tears also.
So that puts Ross Chastain into the championship 4. He was your preseason pick, one of your preseason picks for the championship 4. And just let it be known to everyone who is watching, Nick and I were Ross Chastain fans before everybody was Ross Chastain fans. We became Ross Chastain fans last season, and we both enjoyed the spirit that he brings to his driving, his creative ways of doing things sometimes, as now everybody is aware of. Okay, so the other big story that everybody's been talking about did not come from the Cup race. What was this all about, Nick?
It's the Ty Gibbs move, which Chastain, he did it cool. It was just himself, and it saved him from being in the playoffs. Ty Gibbs, less cool, wrecks his teammate out of the playoffs, secures the win for himself, and gets booed.
That's a pretty good summation of it.
Which I'm all for crazy moves, going for the win. Even though Chastain didn't win, like cool moves like that, gets eyes on NASCAR. Oh, look, he outsmarted the competition. But Ty Gibbs, I know you like to win, but taking your teammate out, you could have one teammate in the final 4 with you. Now it's him alone against, I think, 3 of the other team. Just, it didn't make the most sense.
I understand that he wants to win, but he did not need to win that race for him to make the championship 4. His teammate did need that win, and so now he is not in the championship 4.
If he was solo, I'd have a little more firepower to defend him with, because I kind of stand up, like they are gaining up on him, the Cup drivers, like calling it stupid, which it is a little stupid, but it's a move done in the Cup Series as well.
Ty Gibbs, in his interview, decides that he's going to compare himself to Jesus.
He took that back.
Okay. All right. See, I haven't read the news about that.
He didn't think that one through.
Well, then we don't have to rake him over the coals any further for that then. Who do you like to win the Xfinity Championship?
Ty Gibbs.
Oh.
It'd be funny because I mean I like the guy, but it'd be like is this the good ending? Because they're gonna boo him if he wins it.
Yeah, if he can win it clean, then more power to him. We've got the championship 4 drivers. We've got everybody else. As we've watched the last couple of years, it's pretty clear that all the rest of the drivers, while they're out there giving it their effort, they don't want to be the ones that are going to interfere in who wins.
Yeah.
So I think we know who's going to be running up front. Even if they are not starting up front, they're probably going to find their way up there unless there's some kind of trouble.
I think just based off of overall stats, especially for the postseason playoff stats, I think Elliott will be slightly favored above everyone else. Chastain kind of has momentum, and Bell does have momentum from last week, but I think Elliott, just from laps led, overall races won this season, will have the better favor. Chastain does have the best playoff finish. I think 10th place was his best or average playoff finish.
In the spring race at Phoenix this year, you remember that's the one that Chase Briscoe was the winner. Do you remember who was second in that race?
I do not.
It was Ross Chastain was second at Phoenix. Joey Logano was 8th. Chase Elliott was 11th. and Christopher Bell was 26th. In the finale last season of our championship four, I believe it was only Elliott that was in the four last season. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Chase Elliott finished 5th in that race. So that meant he was the last of the four to finish in that race last season. I don't know that it really makes much of a difference now, but in that race, Christopher Bell was 9th, Joey Logano was 11th, and Ross Chastain was 14th.
The stats, while they're nice to look at from last season, it's not going to have a huge sway on how this happens because, yeah, all the drivers are going to kind of stay out of the way of these guys, and it really is just going to be a race off, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, so not a whole lot of reason to put stock in the previous results. I think we would be able to put some stock into what their speeds look like in practice and qualifying. That might give you some clues. So, Nick, I guess if I was asking you to go with your heart, you'd probably say Ross Chastain. Am I right?
With my heart, I would say Ross Chastain, yes.
Okay. So are you going to make your pick with your heart, or is there someone else?
Oh, I'm going to be very realistic with my pick. I'm not going to make it with my heart.
Okay.
And I do see a winner being crowned and a watermelon being smashed, though. With my realistic pick, I still see Chastain.
All right. Let it be known.
With the momentum from last week, he's shown that he'll do what it takes. I'm not saying he's going to make a crazy move or wreck someone. He's going to be out there racing with all he's got, and I think that he can pull it off.
So it's tough for me to really get a good feel for who my pick should be. But I am going to go back to the beginning of this season, actually prior to the clash at the Coliseum. I picked Joey Logano to be in the championship four. I picked him to win the clash, which he did. I felt like he was going to win the Las Vegas race just a couple of races ago, and he did. So my pick is going to be Joey Logano.
I almost feel like a Logano win would kind of be like an upset because you got the widely loved Chase Elliott, who he is a champion, but everyone loves him. You got Chastain and Bell, who have never been champions. Chastain's got lots of momentum going with them, and Bell's kind of like, here he is showing up out of nowhere, winning his way into the playoffs, into the championship. I feel like if Logano won, it'd kind of be, not that he'd be booed. I'm just saying like an upset from what you'd expect.
It's tough because I feel like Bell could win. I feel like Chastain could win. It's kind of funny. Maybe of the four, I feel the least that Elliott would win. So I'm not sure why that is, and watch me be completely wrong on that.
Who would you ideally want to win then? You're picking Logano, but would you want him to win it, or who would you think?
I think if I was going to pick with my heart, I'd probably pick Christopher Bell. I really like him. I think he's very talented. He's got a good attitude about things, it seems. And he's one of the young guys.
I would like something different. Elliott's one, Logano's one. I want 5 years from now to look at the list. You see Kyle Busch, you see Logano, you see Elliott, and then it's like Chastain. And that makes me feel happy. Something like that.
Who do you think is going to be 5th in this race?
Who do I think is going to be 5th? I think it'd be pretty safe to say Kyle Larson would be 5th. He's been good in the playoffs. Yeah.
And he's competing for the Owners' Championship. The 5 team is still in the Owners' Championship. The 9 team is not.
So there's only one guy fighting for it, and it's Larson?
Yeah, so it's Larson, and then the other 3 guys of the championship 4 are representing their owners for the Owners' Championship. The reason that he was still eligible for that was because... Why? Why was that? So this week, instead of us giving a consensus top 3, I think Nick and I are both going to have Kyle Larson as our top non-playoff finisher. Still competing for an Owners' Championship. He'll be up there.
Yeah, I feel like that's that's the safest pick, just with how, I mean, he won this last season, and especially this very last couple races, he's been very good in the playoffs.
We'll be watching Sunday afternoon. I think it'll be another good one. We've had a nice
Yep.
finish to this season, lots of drama, some good racing, some crazy things happening. So enjoy watching this race, and then we'll come back and we'll do a season wrap up after the champion has been crowned. Enjoy the race, Nick. Enjoy the race, everyone. And we'll talk to you later.